Hello traders and welcome to the market opening preview on a Wednesday, hump day, October 7th, 2015. Traders, great to be with you, coming to you live from Pattaya, Thailand. Bright blue sunny skies and white sandy beaches. Hopefully the rain is gone. Traders, this is brought to you through FXCL Excellence in Trading. Traders, always great to be with you. Got a lot to talk about today. Got 6 currency pairs to look at, a little bit of news and data, and my commentary. Before we do that, let me get started, and I'll introduce myself. My name is William Gilday, and I'm your moderator for the market opening preview series every single trading day before the London Open. Traders, I have to tell you, I do record this during the Asia session. Traders, I started trading in the year of 2006. In 2008, I retired from a wonderful career as a firefighter paramedic out of the great state of Florida. Nine days later, got on the Big Bird, came to Thailand for a 3-month holiday to celebrate my career. Well, it's 8 years later, traders, and I'm still in Thailand. Absolutely loving living in Asia and love the time zone for trading Forex. You know, Forex is 24 hours a day, and I get a good hunk of it. Don't sit in front of my computers that long, but the markets are open and they're rolling, and I'm looking for opportunities with probabilities. So when I enter a trade, that I will be on the win side of that trade. And it comes down to technical analysis, fundamentals. You know, today you have to have both. You have to have fundamentals and technicals. You have to be able to read charts, candlestick patterns, you know, use your Fibonacci tools, do all that stuff, right? Price action is the rule. Price action rules. Why? Because that's current. That's what's happening right now. And that's the way I trade. All right, let's get the legal stuff out of the way. Let's get started. This is the risk disclaimer. Forex trading has a large potential rewards, but also a large potential of risk. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the Forex markets. Traders, most importantly, please do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Traders, always remember that past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. Let's get over to news and commentary. Down day on the markets in the New York session. The Dow 30 was in the green, barely at 0.08 at the close. The S&P 500 was negative 0.36%. Ooh, don't like to see that. And the NASDAQ was negative 0.69%, and the small cap 2000 is negative 0.75%. Man, don't like to see that S&P. I trade a different instrument in the New York session. I trade options in the New York session. So I keep a pretty good eye on the S&P as I am in a position at the moment. Let's head over to the Eurozone. The DAX closed positive 0.90%. The FTSE 100 out of London closed up 0.43%. And the CAC 40 also in the green at 0.95%. The Eurostoxx 50 out of Frankfurt is positive 0.93%. Some really nice movements in the Eurozone, and they started their day down. They recovered late in the day. Let's take a look at Asia now. Just remember that these countries are currently trading, so the Nikkei 225 out of Tokyo is barely in the red at 0.03%. The S&P ASX 200 out of Australia is negative 0.20%. The Shanghai apparently is closed today, and the Hang Seng is barely in the red at 0.06%, and the Kospi is in the green at 0.31% out of the great country of Seoul. All right, let's look at our economic calendar. Traders, we only have one high-impact news event today, and that is in the London session, and that is, if I can find it, it is, yes, manufacturing. Manufacturing, what though? There we go. Manufacturing production out of the Great British Pound is 90 minutes after the London Open, and they forecast 0.3%. Previous was negative 0.8%. So looking for a pretty good number there out of the Great British Pound. That's the only high impact data we have today. Keep an eye on your economic calendar as you go through your day today, as we have some medium impact, but pretty easy on the data for today.
Prime Minister,
pretty, sorry, that was my news feed. Pretty interesting day yesterday when I got up, you know, at sunrise, as I do every day. Was quite amazed at the charts. it was like a correction day. Everything went in the opposite direction of what we talked about yesterday, and you'll see that. But we have to keep focused, and it's all about the higher time frames, the 4 hour and the daily. Depending on what you trade. I know a very, very, very good trader. He's actually a scalper, intraday. And his high time frame is a 2 hour. But he trades off a 5 minute chart, and he scalps. So, that's acceptable. So, I really have been pushing the last month to get traders to look at higher time frames from the time frame that you are trading during your day. You have to get an idea of what's going on. Someday I'll bring up and I'll show you my live trading charts, and you'll see different colored lines on it because every time frame. So if I put a trend line on my chart, you can do it on MT4. It works. When you put a trend line on the chart, you have it color coded. So my daily, my 1 hour, and my 30 minute, all and 4 hour, all have different colors. So I can bring up a chart, and if I see a trend line, I know where that trend line and what time frame it came from. It's so helpful in your trading. Okay, so that's my commentary for today. Like I said, a lot of these did corrections yesterday, and I gather it is profit taken from NFP and dollar weakness. I would assume that's what that is, because it was really across the board. All the trade plans we had yesterday just did not work at all. And that, forecasting Forex is one thing. Having it work to what you forecast is another thing. We can do analysis and paralysis and we turn blue, but the market's going to do what the market's going to do. So let's get started. We're going to take a look at the euro dollar. Remember, these are 30-minute charts, so that means each candle is 30 minutes in duration. And as you can see, what a bounce off this 200 exponential moving average yesterday. I mean, this was just unbelievable. And if you look left of the chart, it did a lot, and then finally did the work and got the job done. There she goes, bada bing, bada boom, and up she goes. Well, right now we're at resistance. Right, so I'm saying at this 1.1263, we want to take this back down. Listen, the euro dollar is bearish. It has no change. There is no change of trend. There is nothing. The euro dollar is bearish. We want to sell this. I do not want to buy this. So the worst that's going to happen is this is going to go up to that yellow line, which is resistance also, and take it down from there. However, I think we're going to get the break from here. Now, this is technically support, so we want this to break this trend line, retest it, and then we're going to take this down. But I'd love to get it in the area of 1.1263, 1260, somewhere in there, and take this down. I'm not too concerned about the daily pivot point on this chart. Why? Look left of the chart. There's very little price action left of the chart at that price level of the daily pivot, so I'm not too concerned about that. Do I expect a bounce? Of course, but I'd like to take this down to the 200 exponential moving average or the S1 pivot at 1203. I would get out at like 1210, 1215, because there's a bunch of orders sitting down there to go long. That 1200 has been quite an area of interest in the last 4 weeks. All right, let's go over to the pound. This is pound dollar again. This one again, dollar weakness and profit taking, whatever the situation is. I read a full update on the U.S. Session and what had happened in the U.S. And there was really nothing astonishing that brought this up. The biotechs are having a hard time. The pharmaceutical area is having a hard time. So let's see if we can get this back down and continue the trend to the downside. Or this was just a stop run, and that's very possible. The big market movers decided, we're going to take all these people out, and we're just going to we'll start again. So here we are. We're at resistance right now at 52.30. I'd like to see this break this, but I don't want to see these little wimpy candles. I want to see a nice bearish engulfing candle and take it down. Again, concerning the daily pivot point, which is that pink line, look left of the chart. I'm not really concerned about it. There's not a lot of price action back there, so I'm not worried about it. I wouldn't be surprised if I went right through it. Again, we'd like to take profit at this 200 exponential moving average at 1.5181. And, that gives us a nice 50 pip trade. we can get this to do what we want it to do. But we can't trade this. We've got to make sure that this is going to go to the downside. And the only way you can do that is by candlestick formation. You've got to be able to read these candles. These candles tell a story. And, to get the entry is so vital. Entries are vital. Entries is the difference between break even and a loss, in my humble opinion. If you got it on and you get that entry right, you can be break even and get out of the trade without losing any equity, or you can be late or chase and you end up getting bounced out of it. So entries are vital, and you just have to read these candles and get a good grip on candlesticks. And like I said, they do tell a story. And when I see this, I see a lot of indecision candles here, a lot of wicks, a lot of indecision candles. So, 45 minutes ago, right? An hour and a half ago, I saw you see that doji before I took the screenshot, which was quite early in the morning for me, by the way, folks. And I wasn't at my charts then. So, then you see this and you say, well, now we're at support. Well, technically, yes, we are. We're coming up to the support. You can actually put a trend line there. The reason I didn't put a trend line is I don't like a trend line on my last candle. The last candle should not be part of my trend line. So let's see if we can get this back down. I'm bearish in the pound dollar, and I just like to see this come back down. And let's see if we can get the entry. That was a long way around just to say, let's get bearish and get the entry. Here's our Aussie dollar. Now, this pair yesterday reacted really unbelievable. So what happened here was the Aussie comes out with its interest rate decision, decides not to do anything. And basically, I would say that their statement, from what I see, was hawkish and positive. So the Aussie, from a we're not going to do anything, puts out this statement, and the Aussie dollar decides to go up 50 pips. However, the Aussie dollar is bearish, folks. Go to the daily chart. It is bearish. I'm not interested in buying the Aussie dollar. I just want to sell it. And I know it's a commodity pair. You have to watch that stuff. So again, these little wimpy candles, you have to get a candle that shows some decision. There's no decision here. There's nothing here. And this is a pair that's going to take the London Open, as we don't have any data in Asia, and now we're coming into the inactive zone of Asia. So we're going to have to take this as it goes. Wow, can't believe we're 12 minutes into this video already. Time flies. Look at this Euro Aussie. Absolutely no price action yesterday. Very little, and nothing. We're below the daily pivot point. I'm looking for an engulfing bearish candle. These little candles with these wicks on them do not help my decision making on making an entry here. Or let this thing pull back to the R1 or that yellow EA line, which is really resistance, and then we'll sell it from there. But this is like a no man's land. And the only reason I'm saying sell it from the daily pivot point is because we can get down there and we can get to break even if we get to that yellow line. And we'll see if we can do that. Well, that's like 25 pips down to that support line, that yellow line. So, at least we can get break even plus 3 or 4, and we're safe if this thing bounces and takes us out. That's the whole thing. Capital preservation is the name of this game. Live to trade another day, and just be intelligent about your stops. So this has a couple of options. This can go up to resistance at the yellow line and the R1, or it's going to go down from here at 57.17, and we'll just take it down. I don't have a take profit because I have no idea what this is going to do. To me, this is in the middle of nowhere. This is like in the middle of support and resistance. I mean, this is just really ugly, and it's going to just have to show me where it wants to go. Okay, here's the Euro Yen. Again, this is bearish, folks. Look at the daily chart. This is a bearish pair. So I'm just looking to take this down at 135.45. Again, we're in the same situation as the other pairs. We're up here. We're in this line here where all these indecision candles with these wicks, and we're just waiting for a move. We're just waiting for this to make up its mind what it wants to do. You can see I put a resistance line on the chart. That dotted line's a resistance line that I put on there, and we just want to take it down to 135.12. Now, that's only a 35 pip trade, right? Doesn't mean that you have to get out there, but you just need to be aware that you got some support there, and even though it's not a lot of support, I mean, yes, you got a daily pivot point, you got the EA, and you got a little bit of price action, but it's nothing massive where it can't just slide on through there and just continue down to the S1 pivot, which is an option to get out there. So you just have to babysit this trade a little bit, but I want to see this absolutely come down. The last of our currency pairs, and believe it or not, it is in the same situation as the others. We're at resistance. We're in this horrible range-bound mode here. We have all these indecision candles. We do have some decision candles on this one, though, but most of them are indecision candles with wicks. They're tiny. They're small. They're not convincing to me, right? They're not convincing. I'm not worried about the daily pivot point at all. I think price is going to go right through that. And I'm not even concerned about that support line there. The yellow line, I think it's going to go right through there. I think our main concern is going to be I'll take profit at that 64.95, 0.6495, which is the S1 pivot. Now, if you look left of the chart, now there's some price action, and there we're going to get a bounce and probably some movement there to the opposite way. So I would be looking to get out of that before we hit that level. So let's see if we can get the entry, and then we'll move on. Well, that wraps up our 6 currency pairs traders. And on behalf of myself, William Gilday, and our great friends at FXCL Excellence in Trading, I'd like to thank you for joining me today on a Wednesday, October 7th, 2015. Traders, if you would come visit us at our site at fxclearing.com for your trading solutions. Traders, always remember to trade smart and not hard. And we'll catch you next time. Take care, traders. Bye-bye.